What kosher wine is or isn't. You know, when I'll stand in front of 100 people and do a seminar on kosher wines, one of the questions I'll ask is, how many people know what kosher wines is? And then a bunch of people will raise their hands, and I'll say, okay, what is it? And the answer most often quoted, oh, it's blessed by the rabbi. Wrong. Absolutely wrong. Unlike any other kosher product, most kosher foods are a matter of ingredients. So, for example, in cookies, as an example, non-kosher cookies could contain gelatin or animal-based oils and products. Kosher cookies cannot. Okay. Burgers or meats have to be killed in a certain way in order for them to be kosher. Fish can't contain any crusticans. They have to. So it's all ingredients based when it comes to kosher food. Kosher wine and non-kosher wine can and should be identical in what's in them and how they're made. Identical. The only difference between kosher wine and non-kosher wine is that from the crushing of the grape until the sealing of the bottle, it's overseen and handled by an observant crew, a rabbinically Jewish observant crew. And the reason for that, and this is the key, the reason for that goes back to the original question. Blessed by the rabbi. No, the rabbi is there to make sure that there's no blessing in the wine. Because millennia ago, wine was blessed by pagan ritual rites. And so the rabbi is there to make sure that the wine is neutral, that it's you, the consumer, that makes it special, that makes the Jewish blessing, or that it, enjoys it with your anniversary or your child's confirmation or whatever. So that when it comes to you, it's neutral. The rabbi's there to make sure that now, of course, those kinds of blessings don't take place anymore in the real world. But still, once Jewish theology says that once a rule is made, we don't break that rule. So from the crushing of the grape until the sealing of the bottle, wines are overseen and or handled by a rabbinical authority, a confirmed rabbinical authority. Now, having said that, over the last 100 years, and that's a very short time in the making of wine, there have been ingredients that are sometimes used in non-kosher wines that cannot be used in kosher wines. That doesn't mean they are always used. For example, gelatin is sometimes used as a fining agent to clarify wine. In kosher wine, we can't use that, never will. Most non-kosher wines don't use it either. But it can be used, and the rabbi's there also to ensure that that's not used. Isinglass, which is a kind of clarifying agent that may or may not be kosher. It comes from a fish that may or may not be kosher. Sometimes used. Sodium caseinate. Sodium caseinate is an acidifying agent that is sometimes used in making non-kosher wines. Very often never used, or often never used, but that comes from a dairy byproduct, casein. So even though it's kosher, it might render the wine not usable when you're having a meat meal. So all those extra additives, preservatives, agents, etc., that may be used in non-kosher wines can never be used in kosher wines. So those are really the two differences. One, just to encapsulate, is that from the crushing of the grape until the sealing of the bottle, there's a rabbinical crew there to make sure that no blessing goes into the wine. And two, that no foreign substances that are not kosher physically can be used in the processing of the wine. There is one also nuance it's called mivushal, which is flash pasteurization today.